See, I'll say this. I love mayonnaise, and Undercover Brother didn't shake me for a second. And if anything, it made me feel more confident. It was like, nigga, you doing something these other niggas can't handle.
They don't know about this. They don't know about this shit yet.
You like Jesse Owens.
Yeah.
Keep going, motherfucker.
Yeah. They just gonna change the name to aioli, and then niggas gonna fuck with mayonnaise. But it's still mayonnaise.
That's still mayonnaise. They just added some spices. Don't fall for it.
The government growing babies. Microchips in your anus. All koala bears are racist. The ozone layer owes me money. Martians invented turkey stuffing. Y'all can't tell me nothing.
Bang, 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 skeet, skeet, skeet. Yep, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another phenomenal episode of My Mama Told Me, the podcast where we dive deep into the pockets of black conspiracy theories, and we finally work to prove that Fats Domino and Chubby Checker existing in the same universe is proof that all of this is a very, very silly simulation. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The problem with the argument about the Matrix is that they didn't address how funny the Matrix is. Whoever invented the Matrix is fucking hilarious. You made two fat boys name themselves after game pieces? That's amazing, and we should celebrate the Matrix rather than running from it. Fuck you, Neo. I'm staying in this bitch if it's gonna be this goddamn funny. I'm your host, Langston Kerman, as always, coming in hot, baby. You know how I do. I don't never come in regular. I could come in like a decent human being one of these days and just say, hello, everyone. Nice to have you here with us so that we could talk about black stuff. But nope, I say mean things about, I presume, two dead men. I can't say for sure, but I have to assume that both of those fellas are dead. And I miss them dearly. Chubby, Bats, you'll be in my heart as always. You know who's also in my heart and ain't dead? He ain't dead. Is my guest today. He's so funny. You know him from a lot of just amazing funny shit, especially most importantly, you know him from the show Grand Crew, where he writes, he's on camera, he does all the shit, and he's so talented, and you're gonna love him. Please give it up for my guest, Mr. Ify Nwadiwe.
Hey, how's it going? I almost kind of wish that I do die, like between when we record this and when it comes out, because I also, do you ever think about that? You're like, if I die, are the people who I did podcasts with still going to release the episode? Are they going to do like a somber preamble where they're like, you know?
The thing is, I think what they do is you save that episode and then you you do a different intro, you know what I mean? And you make it real, like, hoof. I'm coming to you quieter this time, because this one, we were laughing about dead people, but this one actually features a dead man, so I'm gonna whisper his intro.
Yeah, that's how you know something's sad in podcasts, is when the voice gets real low.
And if they're whispering,
yeah. See, the thing that happened this week, Ify Nwadiwe, he was on the pod shortly after.
If we could get serious for a minute, folks.
Get serious.
I know we do some sillies around here, but we actually miss him very much.
Yeah. Rest in peace. Condolences to his family and all his anime figures.
After right. You got to do a fucking ad. You do all these sad things, and then you throw to an ad for mayonnaise.
Yeah.
I believe I can't be sure anymore, but I believe that this podcast is still being supported by mayonnaise. So
okay, shout out to them.
Shout out to mayonnaise for being like, we're going to break the color line. We're not going to keep letting black people say they don't eat mayonnaise. We're going to force it down their fucking throats.
Get it
via
in
this pretty black podcast. Okay, we can't talk about mayonnaise all day because you came. And I couldn't be more excited for the conspiracy theory that you offered up. Truly, it's been a long time since I've crossed one that it never even crossed my mind. It couldn't have hit my radar anywhere. But you said, my mama told me.
Sex in the daytime gives you albino kids.
Yeah. This one was a fun one because I was trying to think of something fun to go over and something that people might not have heard before. And this is funny
Yeah.
because my mama told me that, but it's something my dad said. So my dad's from
Whoa.
Nigeria. I'm Nigerian American, and she was talking about, all the differences they had. Cause I was just like, you're from Louisiana and he's from Nigeria. They're definitely, and she was like, yeah, she was like, he would do like a lot of weird things. And he was like, yeah, he never wanted to have sex in the daytime because he said that's how you have albino kids.
So he's just depriving himself of day sex at the possibility that one of his kids might come out albino.
That's how you know they didn't have day parties like that back in the day. That was before brunch culture. Because if they come back zooted off
there
the
wasn't
brunch.
There wasn't a fucking what's them shits called, what's it with the orange juice?
Oh yeah, mimosas. Yeah,
there wasn't a mimosa in sight anywhere in Nigeria because they couldn't risk it.
They're like, we have to ban mimosas because we'll be overrun by albino kids. And we don't want that.
So he says this to your mom, and then your mom repeats it to you.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know, was she repeating it like, hey, by the way, this is something I learned from your dad and I want to pass it down to you? Or was she like, oh no, this man is nuts?
Yeah, it was definitely that the latter, where because she was a nurse. So she's like, no, that makes no sense. like I know the science here. You're not gonna pull one over on me. Like this is it. And the funny part is, if I brought this up to my dad, he's gonna deny it till the cows come home. Like no, my dad will. One of the things he will admit is like in Nigeria, it's like totally normal for men to hold hands. And he said when he came out here, he was walking down the street with his homie and he tried to hold his hands. He's like, no, it's like they don't do that out here.
Wait, I have so many questions because I totally understand in a culture where you guys are sort of like doing that together, it makes perfect sense, right? Where you go like, yo, you're my friend and we both grew up the same way. So we just naturally find ourselves holding hands. But if you're walking with someone and their instinct isn't to reach for your hand, what is it that makes you go, I need to hold this nigga's hand?
I think like he was crossing the street and it was that natural, like, come on, let's cross the street together. And he was like, nah, we don't do that out here. That, and the second thing is, it's hot as hell in Africa. And so they would powder their faces, so they wouldn't sweat, just the same way we put on baby powder, but like they would carry like the little compact. And my dad started doing it and his homeboy was like, nah, they don't do that out here. I was like, my dad must have been like, this world is nuts.
What are y'all doing? If you're not holding hands and you're not powdering your faces, how does a man be a man?
Yeah.
How does just a good, strong man be a man if he can't hold his friend's hand and then powder his nose?
Yeah. He's like, man, what happened to real men? Now they come to America, it's fancy
real
boys.
Powdered men.
Yeah, powdered that face up. Oh.
What I wouldn't give to just be a fly on the wall watching your dad discover American traditions.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Or I guess the sort of like the anti-Nigerian traditions that America sort of represents of like everything he does where there's just a dude being like, nah, brother, hold on, player,
you can't do that. We don't do that out here. I don't know what y'all doing in Nigeria, but out here we ain't doing that shit.
And then you just got to go home with a notebook and be like, okay, another thing marked off the list that we don't do apparently out here.
How much do you think it'd affect the male black culture in current time if we all just started holding hands? Like, would niggas get in less or more fights?
Here's the thing. I think we would get in less fights. I think white America would fucking melt down. Like, I think the entire idea that like we had reached that level of harmony where niggas are just walking and holding hands would destroy whiteness at its core.
Yeah. No, I could just see like, Mitch McConnell's like neck jiggling in anger.
Yeah.
He's like, oh.
His jowl grows another jowl. It just, he fully would turn into that dinosaur in Jurassic Park with the spread. I don't think that white America could handle that level of harmony. And truly, I think it would, It because they've worked so hard to force Christianity down our throats and to sort of like trick us into thinking that America had reached a level of civility that we, these ignorant black people, couldn't reach. And then we're just powdering our noses and holding hands. My God.
They would lose it. Look, we don't have time to just go down the wormhole that I have such a disdain about civility. And, we were forced to hear it all week. I mean, I don't know when this is going to drop, but this past week we did the conversation of civility and what it means and all. But to me, like, that's the biggest scam. You had this large group of white people rape and pillage countries back to back. And then once they're in power, they're like, you can't do it back to us because that'd be crazy.
Yeah, come on, man. You acting crazy.
That'd be crazy. Come on. Aren't we trying to be regular? You gonna try and kill us after we killed all you?
When I raped your great-grandmother, I said no hit back.
Yeah, no hit back. Okay? So it'd be real weird if you dethroned us. So it's like, get out of here.
Yeah, no, this week, I think, yes, it very much was a lot of, here's what frustrated me about this week, and I won't spend too much time on the Will Smith, Chris Rock of it all, although this comes out next Tuesday, so it's not like we're going to be too dated in this. But what I will say as just a viewer in the entire experience is that was the funniest thing that could have happened in the night.
Yes.
It truly was a miracle of comedy that a billionaire went up and slapped a man in the face for making fun of his wife on television. And it was so funny. And then that quickly got derailed by everybody seeking justice for rich people.
Yeah.
And that's crazy.
You nailed it 1,000%. Because I was at a show with Greg Edwards and I showed it to him and we were we couldn't stop laughing. We were like, and we're doing a show where we're doing specific pandemic jokes for Brandy Posey's album. So like no one could talk about it on stage. So all we could do is talk about it backstage. And then like to get home and see all these think pieces. And I think once again, I like the thing about it too is like, and you, same thing. Like we grew up in a world where niggas will get into an argument, try and beat each other to death. One would lose, they shake hands, and then you keep kicking it. So, like, to me, I'm like, yeah, he slapped him, but, like, life moves on. But everybody wants to focus on that. I'm like, they not even thinking about it right now. They mad about it. I know Chris Rock, the male ego is tough. I know he's still mad about it. He probably had that fucking Cuba Gooding Jr. But beyond that, they straight. So why are we
Chris Rock loves to pace. That man is pacing. And not in the way that he likes to pace. Yeah. He's pacing in a different way than he likes to pace now.
So yeah. No, I feel that.
No, and obviously, let's be responsible. Obviously, there were right decisions and wrong decisions made. Obviously, there are moments inside of this that were clearly mishandled by all parties. But the point is, let the shit be fucking funny for the nights that it's funny. And then we can get into responsibility and politics and all the other shit that people are trying to add to the conversation.
Yeah, let's laugh.
Let's laugh.
Can we do that?
Before we go to break, because we've derailed ourselves so much that we've barely even touched the conversation at hand. Your mother tells you this. She tells you this is a silly thing that your dad believes. Does any part of you consider it? Or do you ever go like, no, I mean, I get it. You a nurse and, maybe he's a silly man sometimes, but maybe there's a level of truth to this that we're not considering.
No, this is the one thing, and I say that as someone who like, there's a lot of like, kind of like spiritual aspects of like a lot of my African side that I'm like, okay, I feel that, I see that energy. This, I not at all. This definitely feels like we've never seen an albino person. We need answers, and we're not going to think too much about it right now, and we're just gonna be like, this is what caused it.
Yeah, it is a hard thing to kind of settle into. You know what I mean? Like you really got to make some massive leaps in your line of thinking.
Oh yeah.
To get to that. And I think in that way, it truly is you being like, I think to believe it, you have to believe in your traditions and your community more than you're even interested in exploring Google and any factoids that it can offer to you.
Well, that was the thing, right? Is like, our parents grew up in a world before Google. And, like I imagine that at this point, my dad was probably in his like 30s. And I'm in my 30s. And there's probably some shit that is in the back of my head that I've never tapped in to fact check that it would come out. But I don't know. I feel like that would be one I'd try and knock down quick, because I'm like, I'm really cutting down the amount of times I could be fucking. So I gotta get to the bottom of this. I gotta get to the bottom of this immediately.
I gotta treat fucking like Ramadan all the time? No, that's crazy. That's wild.
Yeah, no, we gotta figure this shit out.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be back with more Ify Nwadiwe. We'll be back with more My Mama Told Me. And we are back.
Can you lend a nigga a pencil?
Yeah, we're back here with more Ify Nwadiwe. More My Mama Told Me. We're still talking about the possibility that having sex during the daytime will produce albino children. And maybe it's true. If he doesn't believe it, I don't believe it either, but maybe we're wrong. Do you know, and I don't know if this is a problematic question, but I'll ask it. Do you know any albino people?
Well, there's the one comic that I'm sure we both know.
Sure.
Yeah, but beyond that, no. Shout out to him, and sorry I didn't say your name, but I did forget it in this moment.
Victor is the one I know.
Yeah.
I assume that's
I think
that's who you know as well. But yeah, they're rare.
Yeah.
They're rare. It's a Mewtwo of a Pokemon. Well, you know what I mean?
But also too, you have folks who it's what Michael Jackson said he had.
Oh, vitiligo.
Vitiligo, and then like they appear to be albino, but it's like no, they have vitiligo, and it reached that point. So
yeah. And this is probably a great transition into sort of like some of this research, just for our listeners at home who may not be 100% clear on what albinism is, what an albino person's genetic condition is. Albinism is a genetic condition that decreases the production of melanin and results in fair skin complexion, light eyes and light hair, and increased susceptibility to various skin and eye conditions.
Yeah.
They are extremely pale often. Their hair is often similarly pale, and they have difficulty managing sunlight and being in certain like high intense light conditions. And vitiligo, on the other hand, is more a condition that hits you later in life, where your skin begins to transition into a similar color of albinism, but it doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to have the same like eye conditions and sort of health scares that an albino person might experience. But that's all the facts. Now let's get to the silly shit, because I went to do the research, right, on whether or not fucking during the daytime would produce an albino child. And I'll be honest, I didn't expect to find very much. And to some extent, I was correct. There's not a lot of information, if any, that I could find about this piece of information that your dad offered up. However, what I did discover that I was extremely surprised by is how much information there is about conspiracy theories relating to albino people.
Oh,
that
wow.
This is not an isolated conspiracy theory. In fact, there are hundreds, literally hundreds of conspiracy theories about albino people and what they might be.
Wow.
Oh, it's devastating.
Yeah. You know, it's also, just a quick tangent. I'm just curious of what your algorithm ads are looking like, Langston, with you looking up all these conspiracy things. Are you getting jacked into QAnon? I just know they sending you newsletters now.
Yeah, my algorithm's been fucked for a long time, man. One of my favorite episodes that we did, and this was extremely early on in the podcast, was trying to figure out if there was any evidence that Sierra was intersex, whether or not she was born with male genitalia.
Yeah.
And that fucked me right from the start.
Oh, man.
Once you start looking up shit like that, nothing was the same, like Drake said.
Such a deep cut. Yeah, that was like a high school one that I was like, what?
Yeah. Well, we brought it back.
Yeah.
And turns out it was coming from an extremely hateful place.
Oh, I'm just surprised.
Just a bunch of men who couldn't have sex with Sierra decided to say her shoulders were too big and say some awful shit on the internet.
You can always count on black men.
We hold it down.
Yeah.
We do. We do other stuff.
Yo.
All right. So this theory, or rather the plethora of theories that I discovered, are all rooted in a conspiracy theory related to a lot of, and this roots from a lot of African countries, but quite a few African countries actually believe that albino people have a type of supernatural power that brings a curse to them and all of those who love them and care about them. So that's where this roots from, is that they believe every albino is cursed with magical powers that ruin everybody's lives.
I feel like that's like the nth top level of being black and proud. Like, you are so black and so proud that if you see someone born from you that is not black, you're like, you have cursed us.
You cursed our fucking lineage.
Yeah, with your not black head ass. Damn. Like,
and the crazy part about that is that albinism it's genetic, right? Like, this isn't some random thing. This isn't something that you can't predict. It truly can be traced through your genetic lineage. And so in that way, this is a bunch of people who have had albino people in their lives before this, and then are cursing their fucking children and their children's children simply because they're doing what their blood made them do.
Yeah. Like, at the end of the day, it's your fault.
Yes, 100%.
Your genes fucked me up. Don't blame me for that shit.
My favorite thing is that it's all over Africa, right? Tanzania, Malawi, Cameroon, Nigeria, obviously, it's made its reach there. It's everywhere. And because of this super infamy, we'll call that super infamy, albino people are often killed and or mutilated. And their body parts are then sold as ingredients for making magical potions and defenses.
That's wild.
Yeah, no, it's real sucky, dog. Like, I went into this being like, this is gonna be a fun, silly grab on daytime sex. And I was like, whoa, they're cutting albino people's arms off and then grinding them up to make like potions and syrups and shit.
Whew. All right. Maybe we did need a little Jesus. Maybe we needed a little.
Maybe
we needed a little Jesus.
I don't think we needed it from the white man.
No.
I want to be clear. We didn't need white people coming in and giving it to us, but we did need a Lord.
We needed one to study abroad, one of Nigerian, get a little bit of the Jesus, kind of deconstruct it, see what the real Jesus, come back, bring it, and be like, y'all need to stop. Y'all doing...
And here's where I'll get a little hotep with you, because I'll play the game. I'm not scared of it. I think some of this fear, to your point about being black and proud, some of this fear comes from the
Oh,
colonization
100%.
that happened with actual white people, right? So
Oh, yeah.
white devils,
Oh, yeah.
as they were, came into your community, did horrible shit to you. And now your first reaction when you see a baby born matching the white man's skin, you go, this is a goddamn evil baby, and I got to do something
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't, like, I am always 100% on landing on it was the white man's fault because I rock with
Hey.
that. You know, they came in and you know,
Well, that's how they get you.
yeah. Yeah, Napoleon with his bitch ass trying to come over there, all the queens and kings of England fucking with us. Oh man.
Yes. It truly, you can always blame the white man. Here's where blaming the white man gets tougher though, because the parts that they talk about for albino people, they say that the limbs and the, like, any appenditures and shit can go for the price of, and this is a UN report. This is such a big problem that the United Nations is publishing reports on this shit.
Damn.
But the United Nations in 2016 said that body parts of albino people can fetch prices from $2,000 for a limb and up to $75,000 for a quote unquote complete set, meaning the entire person's corpse.
Wow. I'm
Yeah.
like there's so many questions and thoughts after hearing
Please.
that, because there's also the element of like the folks, like, this truly feel like some next level like horror movie shit, because like you would imagine the folks who want these body parts and to do these are, you know, and no disrespect to the cousins and the cultures, but are like the more, you know, like a stereotypical African, you know, when all these white people like going to the cannibal tribes and like shit like that. Like, that's what you're expecting. But if you got 75 racks,
No, you got some bread.
yeah. You got some bread. You ain't out in nature. You was in the city. You was in you in South Africa with the Young Rich and African reality show that I was started watching on Netflix. Like, you kicking it with them.
Yeah, and apparently they sell these things to witch doctors who like you said are at least adjacent enough to like resources that they have $75,000 to drop on this shit. Like, it's not, these are not the have-nots. These are people with actual money.
That's nuts. That just is, because that means that there is a whole like level of like people who are like, we're making bread, we're moving forward, but also we still doing this type of shit. Like, it truly feels like, you know, once again, and this is once again how I'm going to spin it and turn it on the white man. We got so many white horror stories. When A24, y'all could be eating on this right here.
Yo,
you know,
come
like,
on, A24.
Yeah.
What you doing?
Yeah, get yourself a black director, because you can't let Ari Aster touch this one. He gonna get cooked. He gonna get cooked if he try and do this. You gonna have to hit up like Coogler or Jordan.
Yeah.
You know, because like this is the, but it's like that is like wild, and it but funny enough, it does relate in that same way, right? Where we talk about like, this is such a wild conspiracy theory. Like how does one carry on to that? And it is that thing of you just never skepticize about it. You just kind of be like, yep, okay. Like, you know, my grandma told me, you know, albino people come from when you have sex in the day. I'm not going to question it, because especially in Black culture and even African culture, you're not supposed to challenge your elders. And I think our generation is one of the first generations that we like, nah, we gonna say fuck that. Like, we gonna, like, this is like the first, like, when you see like, you know, every day there's a thing on Twitter about like some Black person being like, my mom and aunt say this, but I'm like, nah. And I'm like, nah, yeah, we didn't used to do that.
Yeah, you couldn't necessarily do that.
Yeah.
And it's certainly not as emphatically as you're saying it on the internet.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that was some shit you had to like, you like snuck and did it anyway, but you weren't going to go like toe to toe. And I think this is like the product of that, where you're like, well, if this is what they say.
And to that point, I think it helps us trace some of the logic that landed on your father, right?
Yeah.
That like your dad is probably in a community where, at least growing up, where he is taught that albinism is this sort of like cursed magical thing. And so that creates a type of fear for people where they go, I don't want a fucking albino kid. I don't want my kid to become mutilated or murdered for the way that they look or existing in the world. How can I prevent it? And then some dude is like, oh, daytime sex. Don't you eat no pussy during the day. Well, first of all, don't eat pussy. But if you're going to do it, because there's no way this dude is pro pussy eating.
No, not at all.
But anyway, don't do daytime sex. And then you'll be safe from this thing. And that allows people, to your point, a level of comfort inside of this thing where, although it feels irrational and scary and all of the sort of like heavy words, you go, well, as long as I follow this and this rule, maybe my kids will be protected from this additional harsh reality.
Yeah. I think you're right on it. I think that's what it is. Now I'm trying to think of like the little kind of like jingles they might have come up with to help people remember. Look, if you see the cat, take a nap. You should not be able to see that pussy before you get inside. It should be too dark, and that's when you know you're safe.
Right. If the sunlight's hitting that pussy hair, you gotta relax, man.
Yeah.
It's like the elephant graveyard.
Yeah.
Sun don't go there.
Yes. I mean, maybe that's the origin of, kiss me where the sun don't shine. The sun can't shine on your ass, or you might risk having albino baby.
You don't want that albino baby, so just kiss me where the sun don't shine, please.
Yeah.
Obviously. Okay. I don't know that we're solving anything here.
Yeah. No.
I don't think we're making the world a better place, but I do have a few more research points that I'd love to throw your way after the break, because it gets far more exciting than we've already hit. It truly does. I think you think we've peaked out, but my friend, there's so much more to dig into. So we're going to take a break. We'll be back with more Ify Nwadiwe, more My Mama Told Me. And we are back.
I go there for you. Anything you want, I go do for you, girl. Baby, I go pray for you. Me and you go there till eternity, girl.
Yeah, we're back here with more Ify Nwadiwe, more My Mama Told Me. We're still talking about the possibility that albino people they come from your day sex. They come from you having sex when the sun is up. Don't do it, people. It's not safe. Or you could love your kids however they come out. I don't know. Who am I to judge? It never even crossed my mind, frankly, the possibility of having an albino child.
Yeah.
And maybe that's my own ignorance. I
think there's like other shit that you would like. Me, like, I have a daughter, so like you're worried about way other shit, before you even get the albino. You're like, you got autism, you got like all, you have so many things. Albino is like at the bottom of that list for me. And
when my wife was pregnant, you go through all these tests and all these, like, they warn you and they make you do all kinds of blood tests and they check your genealogy in all these different ways. And at no point was I like, fuck, albino, we forgot to ask. It's like, no, I just don't want everything else you're warning me about first. And then maybe I'll stress about that 100 years down the line.
Yeah. And, I just want to take a quick sidebar to say there's nothing wrong with kids with autism. I was ready to work through it. I'm just saying it is just a very real thing as a parent. You're just like I'm going to just be all the way 100% funky. You just like, I want a normal kid that doesn't need any extra attention. And if they do, I'll still love them and we'll work through it. And there's nothing wrong with kids that do. But for me, I know that it's going to be hard slanging these jokes.
I think I don't want any of our listeners to think that we are besmirching the differently abled. That is not the goal. We are merely saying that the tests are very scary. Yeah. And albinism is not a concern when you are being presented with all of the different other concerns that are sitting there.
I totally missed that you had a kid. How old
Yeah,
is it now?
she's only 5 months, so
Oh, okay. So it's okay. Whew.
she's brand new.
Yeah, there was a whole 2 years we weren't seeing any of our friends. Did you
No.
have that realization that we were like, oh, I only kick it with some of these friends when we're at shows. Like I never actively.
100%. The pandemic made it clear I have 3 friends. And I thought I had more.
Yeah.
If you would have asked me before the pandemic, I'd say 1,000 friends.
Yeah.
If my Facebook is honest, 5,000 friends is
Yeah.
what it says. And it's like, nope, you got 3 friends, dog. And some of them you're on rocky terms with sometimes. So you got to be careful. You got to really learn to value your friends differently.
Yeah. Oh man. You know, we can only grow from that information and now start exchanging numbers with people at shows and be like, let's hang out outside of here.
Yeah. I want you to be my 4th friend.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's jump back into this research because I promised you that it would get more enticing, and I did not lie. So additionally, besides just their limbs, parts of the albino people that also are sold on different markets are like the heart, hair, fingernails are all sought after material. And why are they sought after? That was the big question that I had, is like, what are they doing with them? And apparently these different silly ingredients can be used for things as widespread as fertilizing the soil, winning political elections or football matches. And this is my personal favorite, becoming invincible. There are some who believe that with some albino fingernails in your pocket, you are invincible.
See, one, that's hilarious because that's such a huge jump from like trying to win an election, trying to grow your crops. Invincibility. I will not be touched. But I don't mind the hair, fingernails, you know, because that to me, I'm like, that is a way that albinos folks can make money in Africa. There's like, I'm going to clip my shit up and I'm making some bread, you know?
Yeah, it's like selling feet or dirty panties or whatever it is that people are into. Like you can sell your albino fingernails and make some guap off that shit.
Yeah. So this one I definitely like because I could just see
it's not a bad deal.
Yeah.
So you're not mad at the possibility that the fingernails have a currency to them.
Yeah, I fuck with because, you know, I just like to imagine like an albino person at home just clipping their fingernails and just counting, you know, some cash and they're living a good life. No one's trying to murder them. That's what I like, the part where they're not being murdered.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, that's not the main focus here because for the murder parts, there are also additional superstitions that people believe that albino parts, and they say parts, but they mean like their limbs and sort of like essential parts, bring wealth, power, or sexual conquest. And they also believe that having sex with a person living with albinism cures HIV and AIDS.
Oh, no. That is just bad for that person. They get they got a lot of people lying where it's like, no, he's like I'm clean. I mean, I'm gonna be. Like, what?
I'm gonna be. It's like, no, actually, you've just ruined this nice albino man's life.
Well, yeah. That's wild. Damn.
Even scarier, if it can't get scarier, it's not some crazy uncommon occurrence in a number of these countries. In fact, so the U.S., and I looked all this shit up, the U.S., apparently albinism is believed to be in about 1 in 20,000. 1 in every 20,000 people has some version of a albino situation going on. But in places like Tanzania, the numbers are closer to 1 in 5,000.
That's because everybody fucking them, thinking they're gonna get cured. You know, there's one person who's like, Langston, if y'all need to relax, because this shit is actually working out. I'm selling my fingernails and hair and fucking nightly. Don't shake the table.
Stop hating, motherfucker.
Don't
goddamn.
shaking the table too much. I'm straight, y'all. Leave me alone. I'm in Tanzania.
I'm in Tanzania curing AIDS, motherfucker. Chill.
Oh shit! It's like, oh man, I truly do hope that there's that one person who is getting the best out of all this. That out of all
Yes,
this
I do
horrible
too.
shit, there's one person who's like, actually, I'm eating y'all. I'm feeling real
It's
good.
wild because I read this article from this guy who was born with albinism and was forced to flee where he lived, right? That basically like
Damn.
immediately as he came out, his dad was told, you should kill that baby and sell it because it's going to be worth crazy money. And his dad was like, I'm not fucking killing my baby.
Yeah.
And so they, they fled. Then they moved they moved out of the continent. And then
Damn.
eventually he got older. He turned like 40 or 50 or some shit and decided to go back and confront the witch doctor that first said that shit to his father. And so he makes this journey back and he's like a professor now. He's a really like smart, popular guy. And so he just wants to have a reasoned conversation with this person to sort of get a sense of like, do you realize that you're causing the damage that you're causing and putting people's lives at risk? And he said when he sat down with the witch doctor, the dude would barely even like entertain half the shit he was saying. And he just kept saying to him, bro, you don't know what you're worth. Like, you don't fucking get it. You know how much money I could get for you right now?
That's nuts. It is nuts too, because that feels like just where we are as a society, where it's like, I'm not even listening to you because I've made up my mind. And I just need to convince you to let me murk you right now.
Yeah.
Like how, because that is like a different level of confidence. It's one thing to be like, I'm not listening to what you're saying. I'm not listening to what you said. And I need you to understand that I need you dead.
Yeah.
Now.
It truly feels like those cartoons where Daffy Duck's body turns into a turkey. You know what I mean? Where you're just staring at him and you're like licking your lips like, God damn, I'll eat the shit out of Daffy Duck.
just staring at him. He's like a talking stack of cash. You're like, I could be invincible right now.
I could deflect bullets if you would just let me.
There is a 99% chance that he was charging people to come in and sniff that chair. It's like, you don't know. I took a picture. There was an albino person sitting in this chair. $50, come in here, sniff the seat. You might get temporary invincibility.
You sniff the seat, you'll start glowing rainbows like Mario after he eats his star.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. It's like, oh man,
it's only gonna last like 10 seconds,
but
you're gonna be strong as fuck for that 10 seconds.
Yeah. Would you rather be invincible for 10 seconds or not at all?
Not at all. You got to go with 10 seconds. I think that's the easy answer right there. So all of this is obviously devastating and fucked up, but similarly, albino people, even when they're not being directly attacked, apparently face a number of discriminatory issues, including being treated with fewer rights and denied education because of their condition. So it truly does not get better, even when you're not being massacred for albinism.
Yeah. Because that is like, I mean, this is funny enough, a racist white person's dream is like hearing this song. It's like, see, when the tables are turned, the darkies are real racist to whites. Yeah. And I'm like,
It truly is proof that like we could have done it too. They just beat us to the beat us to the punch, man.
Yeah. They went over there, they stole all the spices. They knew.
So I'll hit you with one more devastating sort of like tidbit, because it truly does not get better inside of any of this. And additionally, I should say that even relating to the education and sort of like fewer rights, I read this story about a girl. She's a grown woman now, but when she was a girl, she talked about being regularly flogged at school, beaten at school, because they wouldn't consider the fact that she had an eye condition, obviously, because she's albino. A lot of them they have trouble seeing things, certainly up close. And as a result, she couldn't see the board often. She struggled to actually make out what was in front of her. And she was regularly beaten by her teachers and the administration because she would go, I can't see stuff. And they go, bitch, you lying. And they just beat the fuck out of her.
Man, this is also confirming just another thing my dad would say, because whenever I did bad at school, he was like, if you do bad at school, I will send you to Nigeria. In Nigeria, when you get something wrong, they will hit you. And I'm like, that's
Yeah.
nuts. And now I'm hearing, nope, that's part for the course. How is that going to help? I'm just going to be fucked up and dumb.
It's truly wild. And my sister, my youngest sister, she's 11 now, and she lives with my mom in Ghana, and they beat the shit out of her. There's a man named Master Ben, who I regularly ask about because he apparently has a room filled with canes. He just has a bunch of canes that he, in various thicknesses and lengths, that he uses to beat the kids. And my sister gets hit by Master Ben, and for some reason that makes me laugh. But for other people, I get it. It's probably illegal and corporal punishment is wrong, blah, blah, blah. But when my sister's getting hit, it's funny to me.
Yeah, that's just that brother relationship. You're like, see, you shouldn't fuck with Master Ben. What'd he tell you?
Master Ben
1
alone.
+ 1 = what? Don't get it wrong. Master Ben's
I'm not
listening.
making this up when I truly tried to invite Master Ben to my wedding just to make my sister more stressed. I said, if Master Ben wants to come, I will pay the extra money to make sure Master Ben has a seat and a plate at my wedding.
Yeah, you paying hella racks just to fly out all those canes because he's
I
bringing them
did.
with him. He's like,
And I want a seat for each cane.
Yeah.
Each cane gets its own seat.
It's like, why is there all these canes in these seats? Are they ours? Nope. Do not sit in the cane seats.
And listen, I wouldn't ask too many questions. Master Ben can hear you, and he ain't gonna sit through that too long.
He don't like that.
He don't like that. So here's the last piece of devastating information that I sort of found in all of this. Even worse, beyond the beatings, even worse beyond, frankly, the murder and mutilation, if you are managing to survive all of that shit, statistically, it shows that nearly 90% of albino people die before the age of 40 in Africa from skin cancer.
Oh,
that
fuck.
Like they don't even make it past a reasonable lifespan because of how little is sort of like done to treat and prepare for the sun and the harshness of the sun in Africa.
Well, yeah, that's the coldest part is because, Africa and Africans, like they used to that sun. It is built like when I went, I've never been sunburned my whole life.
Yeah.
But I went to Nigeria and I got like sunburn and heat rashed. And I was like, that's when I knew shit was real. Cause it wasn't like, to me, you don't consider how hot it is. It's hot, but you're like, whatever, it's hot, it's humid. And no, that sun is hitting you in a whole different wavelength.
Yeah, dog.
You went out to Ghana, right? So you felt that.
I haven't been to Ghana. I haven't visited my mom there yet, but I have been to South Africa. And South Africa fucks. My wife and I are pretty much the same skin color, and it fucked both of us up real bad.
That's tough.
And we were lathered. You know what I mean? It's not like I went in there with ego. I know what the fuck I look like. You know what I mean? I wasn't like a bad boy about this shit.
Oh, yeah.
I was lathering, but it's a different fucking sun. You know what I mean?
And that is like the African sun is something else. I did go in with ego. I didn't wear sunscreen once, and then I tried to do it after the fact. It was too late.
That's not how sunscreen works.
I'm like, hold on. I guess I got it. This shit cooked me. Oh, shit.
Damn. Well, Ify, this started off real silly, and then it just turned heartbreaking for albino people.
Yeah.
But maybe this was informative. Maybe we help them know what to prepare for and where to stay away from should they decide to go traveling.
Yeah, shout out if you're albino and you've seen The Return. Go ahead. Just don't return. Don't return until I figure it out.
Return.
I'm gonna go over there and figure this shit out. I'm gonna talk to some people. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll write to you. We'll write you a letter in big words because we want you to be able to read it. We'll write big old letters and we'll say, hey, it's safe to come visit now that we checked it out, you're
Yeah,
all good.
we checked it out. I pressed a few people. Master Ben got his canes taken away. He ain't hitting nobody. I'm going. Because now, like, I just know now if I'm in Nigeria and I see someone albino, I'm about to break out bread on them. I'm about to be like, hold on, bro. I heard about it. I know what you're going through. Here you
Come
go.
on,
Don't
brother.
worry.
You ain't even got to give me no fingernails.
Yeah. Don't
Just
worry.
find
Don't-
somewhere safe
no,
to sleep
I know.
tonight.
Yeah, please. Please. This is for a security detail. And I want you to get the most clappiest ones. The ones I want LA club bouncer energy on all you.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Ify, could you tell the people at home where they could find you and what cool shit you have going on?
Yeah. I'm Ify Nwadiwe on Twitter and Instagram. Watch Grand Crew on NBC. It's on Hulu and Peacock now, so definitely watch that. And keep your eyes peeled. The show I'm currently working on, I can talk about it because it was announced doing a Twisted Metal show. And that's also going to be on Peacock. So peep that when that drops.
Fuck yeah. Well, follow Ify, watch Grand Crew, watch Twisted Metal when that bad boy comes out. That's great. And as always, you can follow me at Langston Kerman on all of the platforms, and you can subscribe to the podcast if you so choose. And please, if you want to send us your conspiracy theories, you can send them to mymommapod@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. Okay, that's it. Bye, bitch.
Government growing babies. Microchips in your anus. All koala bears are racist. The ozone layer owes me money. Martians invented turkey stuff.